So I thought I would do a little bit of a vlog. I haven't done one in a little bit, and talk about maybe 3 or 4 things. The first is a bad weight loss strategy I'm going to try implementing, because a lot of other ones haven't been working. And then second, I'm going to give a shoulder update. And then third, kind of a bit of an interest check question, I guess, and it kind of all ties in with the weight loss thing. So first of all, let's just talk about the shoulder. So far, it's range of motion's great. I can move around a little bit of weight, and tomorrow I'm going to try and hit some lifts at maybe 40 to 50%, and then if that feels good, later on in the week I will be getting back on schedule and maybe going for 70% with some things with overhead with the shoulder. It still tentatively sometimes feels painful. What really occasionally makes it hurt a lot is if I have to move my shoulder really quickly, so it might just be the case that I just can't do weightlifting movement. I might try and isolate and experiment a little bit. If tomorrow doesn't go well, I'll try and see if I can do bed press, for example, without it being painful, and just leave the one-arm snatch, which you're seeing right here, on the table a bit, more or less. And then let's get into kind of the 3 things, both interest check, progress update, and bad eating weight loss idea. So it might not be for anyone who's been following like my shorts as it relates to physique or weight loss. You've seen that I just basically haven't been successful in the weight loss, and I've kind of made a little bit of an attempt, but never like a really, really hard attempt. And I'm not interested in just like blasting a ton of effort into the thing, and instead, like, I want a more long-term permanent solution to the weight loss that does not involve me putting in an enormous amount of conscious effort. And so like I know that I can just like blast if I like really, really want to, but I'm not interested in like doing some sort of short-term progress thing and then putting all my effort into it. I don't want to expend a bunch of willpower on the food. So that's kind of like thing 1 in terms of overall philosophy. And then the thing 2 is, you know, I, as part of like what I was doing to try and do it in a low effort way, I did a little bit of a deep dive with myself and asking myself, okay, well, why am I not losing weight? And, you know, trying to couch it in what are the positive benefits behind my behavior, or why do I engage in this negative behavior, and what's like the positive intentionality behind this? And this is, for those who might be familiar with NLP, this is an NLP exercise. I believe it's called an ecology check. It probably has different names depending on different schools, but the fundamental idea is whatever negative behavior you're engaging in, you ask yourself, okay, what's the positive intent behind it? And for mine, it's like binge eating. And man, do I really enjoy binge eating. And I found that I'm actually not that uncomfortable when I eat really healthy and I eat really low calorie stuff. I mean, I'm uncomfortable, but it's like, it's not a big deal to me. When I get in the zone for a diet, which I've done I've lost like 100 pounds in a year before. It's not something that's outside of my reference experience. But it's when I'm in the zone, it's like effortless. It's not a big deal. It's whatever. And so the question is how do I get in that zone for thing 1? Like, but the other thing is like, okay, but why am I binge eating? And it's not like tremendously hard to not binge eat, but what is positive about it, or what do I enjoy about it? And you know, I came to the conclusion it's a sort of like both freedom thing, like I'm free to eat as much as I want, and I think that this probably, you know, goes back to some childhood things that like aren't worth unpacking here. But then also like a prowess thing, and again, this probably goes back to some childhood thing, but when I was a kid, people were very, very impressed with how much I could eat. And I think that this like positive reinforcement also kind of ingrained in me a sort of, you know, interest in just eating a lot. And I enjoy eating a lot past when it's uncomfortable, just like crushing enormous amounts of food. And so then the question is as well, okay, let's say I enjoy this. And let's say I want to lean into this. And just like be like, okay, well, what's the highest version of this? What's the best practice for, you know, binge eating or gorging? And it's probably competitive eating. And so the diet idea is, well, first of all, cutting 10 pounds, and every 10 pounds I do an eating challenge somewhere, or find an eating challenge. And then this is, by the way, this is normally something that any sort of dieting book recommends you don't do, that you don't reward yourself with food. but I'm not trying to develop a reward. I'm trying to develop, or how's this? If you look at a lot of the eating challenges that get done, they actually get done by really skinny dudes. And being big is actually considered a disadvantage as far as competitive eating goes. And it's like there's the really strong competitive eaters aren't huge. This is just not a thing because it's actually a disadvantage. So if I actually approached the practice of competitive eating and said, okay, I want to do this as best as possible, which I'm not saying that's exactly where I'm at, but I'm just, let's entertain this sort of notion. The best practice for me to actually be super competent at that would be to lose a ton of weight and also get really good at, you know, eating enormous amounts of food. And the way you do that is you like, you can, for example, there's like gum that's like really, like Fallon brand gum, which is like a Turkish gum that's very, very tacky. And so you can develop your jaw muscles chewing a bunch of that, or you can do jaw exercise, I guess. I don't know if that's a scam or not. And then you could also like, what is it, like drink enormous amounts of water to stretch out your stomach. You could do stuff that's not ingesting calories that makes you more competent at this. Right, so this is a skill you can do, a skill I could develop, and part of it is, to actually be as good as possible, you actually need to like, I forget the expression, but like all your what is the fat that's beneath the muscle, I forget the term for it, all of that is a disadvantage. It makes it so you can't eat as much. And so you actually just want to be fit. And so, not only would, how should I say, if I'm going to be like crushing my body doing like binge eating, I shouldn't have this low quality binge. I should have like a proper binge, like a really, like a gnarly binge, an eating challenge binge, if you will. And not just like have these tepid, like, you know, sort of half binges all the time. You know, I should just prep for like once a month to do like an absolutely enormous binge, and then to whatever degree I get satisfaction from binge eating, I'm pretty sure I would get a lot more just doing one a month than just, you know, every 3 days just crushing an enormous amount of food or eating like 8,000 calories, which is not like a problem for me. And so to that end, I think that it might be, look, there's a lot of stuff that I've done to try and lose weight that's not particularly effective, and not also, has not been particularly effective in terms of not using brute force methods, and I don't want to use the brute force methods. And so this eating challenge thing is very intriguing to me because the fact that you actually want to be lean. So if I'm trying to get competent at being like binge eating like very, very effectively, it involves losing weight. And I feel like I'm talking in circles a little bit because it's like, it's such a weird, strange, horrifying strategy to justify, but I think I'm going to try doing eating challenge, you know, once a month-ish, or every 10 pounds, whatever it is. I think I'm going to do every 10 pounds for like the first 50 pounds, and then do every month, or something like this, and try and lose 10 pounds a month, either way. And another thing is like, I've started to like feel not so good when I eat an enormous amount of carbs, especially as like I gained weight from like 290 to like 300 and 310, these types of ranges. And so I think that like insulin resistance, I'm becoming insulin resistant, and the only way to deal with this is to lose weight. And if you're insulin resistant, you can't really do the competitive eating thing. And so there's like that consideration as well. Or I could try and figure something else out, but all in all, I think that as a result, I'm going to try and do this. And so like the interest check thing, for anyone who's made it this far in a video, which, okay, it's 9 minutes, and it's me rambling about competitive eating in a way that, okay, also with me looking in the background, but whatever. The interest check is this: is anyone here interested in competitive eating on here? This channel is the most reasonable channel for me to upload it to. And there's a lot of like binge eating challenge in the fitness scene type of thing that tends to track, and I thought that this would be a decent spot to upload it. So if anyone has any feedback in that regard, feel free to let me know. And then the second, they're just talking about progress so far. I've been kind of floating this idea in my head for like a couple weeks now, and I've been starting to cut. I'm down about 5 pounds from January 30th, like pretty solidly down, not like water weighty down. And so I'm like kind of on track to lose 10 pounds this month. We'll see exactly how that goes. Short month. Yeah, it actually has me excited to try and eat healthier just so that I can run the train on my body later, which is, obviously not the healthiest thing. Certainly not conventional strategy. But if this works, how should I say? It's funny, ironic, and subversive. And generally speaking, from an aesthetic perspective, anything that's extremely subversive, I tend to just like think is the bee's knees, just the business, the funniest thing ever. Like just aesthetically, like very, very nice. Like for example, The Boys, where like all the heroes are truly villains. They're talking about the TV show, like, I just love it. And just, like, anything that's hyper subversive. And definitely eating in a ton of food in order to lose weight is very, very subversive. So, to that end, I think I'm going to give this a whack, and I want to put it out publicly that this is my intention to do it. That way, it's out there for a few reasons, like accountability and also, posterity, these types of things. But anyways, if anyone has any any discussion on the matter, feel free to put it in the comments. I get like you should lose weight comments all the time here on my shorts anyways, so but my videos don't get as much traction, so we'll see. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Appreciate any feedback on just stuff in general. I'm probably going to try and do a video every single Sunday. Mostly going to try and do not vlogs. This is a vlog. But if you have any ideas for content or anything like that, or let me know what you like, this sorts of stuff. Also probably going to try and do some more or start doing tutorials. I'm going to try and do one this Wednesday, and then I'm going to try and think of more for later. We'll see. I don't know how interested people are in specific lifts or specific tutorials, but if you have any ideas, feel free to float them. All this type of stuff, YouTube algorithm, like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day as well.